What's up, guys? Welcome back to Quitting Mary, where we specialize in helping people kick marijuana addiction. Sometimes we discuss other topics. We veer off subject, but today I wanted to talk about I would not live in Vegas if I had issues with addictions. Okay, so I just recently came off a vacation, family vacation, to Las Vegas, took the kids. We had a pretty good time, and I would say, okay, Vegas is a nice vacation spot. Actually, we normally take a trip to Gatlinburg, but it was cheaper to actually fly to Vegas than to drive to Gatlinburg. So, whatever the case, we took the kids. It was cool. You got the lights, you got the attractions, you got the hotels, you got the Bellagio, all these things. I would say I think Vegas is slightly overrated, and maybe I'm just salty because we brought our 3 kids, 2 of them being small, stroller age. So I got so sick of taking a stroller up the elevator, down the elevator, up the elevator, down the elevator, and that was pretty nerve wracking. So much that I said I probably would not go back to Vegas again, but I probably would go back to Vegas again, but it would be just me and my wife without the kids, or if we did bring the kids, they could not be in a stroller. But of course, everything in Vegas is so high, so expensive. After just observing and seeing what all they offer, I'm saying the only person that this would just be extremely fun to is somebody who gambles, who drinks a lot, who wants to smoke weed in a legal state, who has a sex addiction, all these things. So, I personally think of somewhere like California as like a cesspool or a place of debauchery, but Las Vegas is pretty extreme because it caters to all addictions. Like I said, if you have a gambling problem, Vegas is definitely for you. There are slots everywhere. There are slots at the gas station, slots at the airport, which I'm like, why would you gamble at the airport? Obviously, you're probably not gonna get any money there. But whether I went down, whether it was 3 in the morning or 7 in the morning or whatever time, there's gonna be people down there either with a drink or with coffee or with their cigarettes at the slots. I'm not a big gambler. I'm gonna put $20. If nothing comes of that, then so be it for me. I actually did play $40. I put in 20 and won 13. I said, okay, I put in another 20 and I got like 1 cent. So I said, this is it for me. So now I lost $7. So I got my feel. Again, if you like to drink, this channel is dedicated to people who struggle with weed addiction. I personally still do socially drink, and socially I mean me and my wife have date night and we may have a drink or two. And so, but I'm not a big drinker. I never had an issue with alcoholism. But if you do, or if you love liquor, Las Vegas definitely feeds off into that. Also, with weed, of course, Nevada, Las Vegas is a legal state, so you see this emergence of weed shops. They're making actually weed friendly hotels. There's people on the streets. One guy actually, somebody was smoking a joint, dropped the joint, and a guy came up behind him and picked it up. I thought that was like the nastiest shit ever, but I'm like, oh, okay. And also, if you have a sex addiction, of course, you have all these showgirl shows. It's some for the ladies. They got Thunder Down Under, so you got naked guys in the street. You got all kinds of women with their cheeks out walking up and down the street, which I feel like they could have slightly better outfits. Like, is it a standard outfit that they must put on? They didn't have like these sock boot things that I thought were like kind of ugly. I feel like some girls should have been a little more put together to be on the strip with your ass out. But it's something for those people. If you struggle with sex addictions, whether you're a guy or a girl, it feeds off into that too. And not to mention, of course, Nevada being a state for legal prostitution, it covers the main four addictions that people deal with, and it propels that. So if I had an issue with alcohol, had an issue with gambling, had an issue with sex, had an issue with weed, I probably would not move to Vegas. And not to mention, I went to Fremont Street. Our last night there, we did. My oldest son actually went. He's 19, so he was able to babysit the two small ones while we stepped out and went to Fremont Street. But besides me being horrified by it being 11, 12 o'clock at night, and people have babies in strollers, that no kid wants to be on Fremont Street at 12 at night while you drink your beer. So we were mortified by the amount of kids we saw in strollers, but I also was mortified by the amount of homeless people that obviously have wrecked their lives by either drugs or alcohol, or maybe gambled their money away, or a combination of them both, or all three, or whatever. It was a mass number of people who obviously had wrecked their lives through whatever vice that had taken them over. And just personally, from people that I've ran across that are not from Vegas, that has moved to Vegas, they do seem to have a slight issue with addictions. So I was led to conclusion that, again, if I had an issue with any of those four addictions, I probably would not move to Vegas. The city, and there's nothing to offer but that prices are extremely jacked up. Like I said, the kids did enjoy the Bellagio. We went to a circus, not a circus, not circus, but went to a aquarium. They enjoyed that. But there's not much really down there but places to drink, and of course places to gamble. And I'm like, who with this interest for a long period of time but people who are very hooked on these vices? So if you struggle with addiction, any of those, I probably would not move to Las Vegas. A decent place to vacation. If you want to let loose, flights are very cheap there. That's why we went. Like I said, it was cheaper to fly there than to drive in our same state. But I see why, because everything is sky high, and sky high for what? And I feel like things are sky high because not only is it a tourist place, people are drunk. So you're drunk, you don't care. You know, whatever is a hot dog is $15. It's I'm tipsy, I'm feeling good. Whatever the case. So if any of you guys have ever been to Vegas, have lived in Vegas, I'll be interested to know if it's, I'm sure it's different for those who may have been born and raised there. Maybe they're not as affected by these things versus somebody who comes there and has these big bright eyes on all this gambling and liquor and weed and sex. Maybe it's more difficult for somebody like that. So I'll be curious to know if somebody does live in Vegas, are you not really fazed by any of these things? But I personally would not move to Vegas if I had issues with addictions. So guys, just a small rant about what I saw, how I felt. Side note, I said I was going to quit weed, which I have quit weed, but I was going to reward myself when I finally did come to Vegas. I'm like, I'll do a birthday blunt, or if I go on vacation to a legal state. Surprisingly, if you have quit weed and you go for over a year, it's a great chance you won't crave weed anymore. So I had no desire to actually intake any weed, and I'm actually pretty confident that I can smoke a blunt on vacation, or smoke a joint, or eat an edible and come back home and be okay. But why do that? I had no desire to do that for the sake of just saying I'd smoke weed in Las Vegas. So I did not. I was quite proud of that. So, just side note. But anyway, guys, like I said, just a rant. Let me know what you think. In the meantime, like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, comment below on if you would move to Vegas if you had issues with addictions. Peace.